Right.
Oh, we're on.
We're on. Let's go.
It says live. I don't know what that actually means, but all right. What's up, everybody? My name is Dana George, your legacy planner. It was all a dream with the Odd Squad. We're missing one of our co-hosts. He was a little busy today, but we're here. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, and I'm the Salty and Lit coach, Matthew Avia Donahue. And yeah, so today we're trying a different format. We're using a different program than we usually do. So I'm hoping there's no technical difficulties. But we're here today to talk about one of my favorite books and a book DJ recently
Got it
finished.
first.
My man got it right there, The Alchemist.
All
I
right.
don't even have it
Use it
handy.
slow.
So for me, The Alchemist was, I tell anybody that talks to me about it, I read it about once a year over the past 11 years. So I probably read that book close to 15 times, 16 times. And
I didn't know that.
every single time I read it, I learn something new or I see something from a different perspective. And I think it's just such a beautiful book because there's so many different life lessons that we can pull out of it. What do you think, DJ?
Well, I haven't read it once a year. I've only read it once, so I'm looking forward to reading it again. Like I said before, well, not before, but I definitely want to get my 12 books in, and if I can squeeze that in again, I would definitely do it. It was a lot better than I thought. I didn't know what to think about it. It did start off a little slow, but then there were things that really triggered, and it fit like what was going on with my life at the time. And I think it actually, what it did was something, for how do I put it, what it did was like open up my eyes to certain things that were happening around me, to like realize like what is going on. And then like one of the parts in there is when they speak about omens, and I was like, holy crap. So when he went over the omens part where it's like there's certain things that are going to be happening that you have to pay attention to realize, and to pay attention to those omens and follow them.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And something, to introduce the idea of the omens is, the main character's name is Santiago, and he has kind of like this mentor in the beginning, and his mentor's name is Melchizedek. They also refer to him as, the wise king or the old king. And something he had said was, when you reach for your goals, or when you're trying to accomplish your life's purpose, the whole world conspires to help you. And that was his idea of, and then he kind of led into like, you got to watch the omens, you got to look for the signs, and act on them, And I thought that was such a cool thing, because I feel like that's something we both had, like this past year. That's something we both kind of gone through. It was kind of big transformations, big changes, and kind of going after our dreams or our goals in ways that maybe we haven't in the past.
And also, because you brought it up, and I forgot about it as well. Melchizedek, I didn't remember his name, but what he did was, like, not only did they tell him to pay attention to the omens, and then like he'll work with them. Like, I think this goes hand in hand to like we were talking about, like one of the first episodes about like coaching this, and the third, like people are like, why would I pay to get assistance in certain things? Like, so Melky, he was telling him, give him 10% of my sheep or something like that.
Yeah, he said he wanted 10% of his sheep. Yep.
Yeah, so like that right there, it probably would have caused a lot of people to stop. Because it's like, why would I invest? No, people would probably think of this. It was like, why would I pay? But the way the Santiago sort of is as an investment to help go towards his goals. So he sort of has two different things, where a lot of people's like, why would I pay to do something? Why would I pay to be in this? Where he sort of as an investment to reach his end, to reach one of his end goals.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the same kind of principle, when I signed up for coaching, is paying up front, and is this going to pay off? Is it going to be worth the investment? So that was kind of like a big concern I had as well. And it's funny you say that, because since I worked with my life coach over the past year, and aspiring to be a life coach myself right now,
Good.
Reading through the book, and I know it's something me and you discussed privately, but this time I read it from the perspective of life coach. Like, what advice would I give Santiago? What advice would I be telling him in these situations? And just reading it from the perspective where I wanted to teach him something allowed me to kind of see it in a much deeper way than I previously have.
And I like that as well, is because so like I have some highlights in here that I'm just trying to look through at the same time. I forgot to write them down. But it's a great opportunity for you, especially because you said you read it one time a year, to where you could read it one way and then learn it from another avenue. Because this book, I could tell that it will, I don't want to say differ, but you might take it a certain way depending on where you're at in your life. And it could fit. I could see how it could fit in that aspect. So where you hit like another level and you grow, I think this book would fit into it. To where it's like, oh, I learned this. Oh, and because I'm pretty sure, like, I think I might want to buy this book again and read because I highlighted a lot, but I'm afraid that when I read the highlights, I might stick to it. So I think I'm gonna buy it again and read my non-highlighted version, so I don't get stuck with the things that I highlighted. Because if like a lot of it, like, it fit what was like decision making, what I was going to do. And I was like, there was decisions that I was going to pass up on. But then I was like told, even by my coach earlier this year, was telling me was pay attention to the signs, which I didn't even pay attention to when he said it. So then when you told me about the book, I wasn't going to read the book. For some reason, I read the book. He says, pay attention to signs. So then when I was reading it, like, those are like a lot of the things that the signs were going through. So one of the biggest things are, in the book, it's called Personal Legends, right? The personal legends, and like it says that everyone has a personal legend. But do we expand on it? Do we go after it?
Can you explain what personal legend is for people who might not know?
Well, it depends on who you are and where you are at the time. But for me, I saw personal legends as goals and accomplishments.
Okay.
So for him, a personal legend was like the end goal was getting the gold by the pyramid.
Yeah.
But a personal legend could be like that might be just like his personal legend would be the end goal. But the way I was seeing personal legend was like small milestones that I could hit, and then I would hit my end goal.
Yeah, I love that concept of a personal legend. To me, it was just personal legend was kind of just like, what's our purpose? What's your purpose on life? And we all have a purpose on life, or in life. We all have a purpose in life, and that's really, to me, how I interpreted personal legends. For Santiago is to get his treasure. You know what I'm saying? For you or for me, we're gonna have something a little bit different, right? And something, just to kind of piggyback off what you said a little bit, it wasn't so much about getting the treasure, right? It was about the journey along the way, and all the obstacles and things that popped up that he had to like overcome and attack and deal with, where they could have, easily he could have given up like a dozen times, and instead of giving up, he kind of used these negative situations, and he turned, like Lauryn Hill said, I turned a negative into a positive picture. You know what I'm saying? So he got stranded in a foreign country, and he learned that language. He had to work at a job he didn't like. But then he learned skills that would help him out later in the future. You know what I'm saying? So every setback he had was really setting him up for something greater. And I think that ties into one of our earlier episodes, is when we're able to kind of step back and see like the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't get stuck on the moment, but we can take a step back and, in hindsight, okay, this happened, but because this happened, I was prepared for this, a year later, 2 years later. And I think that's a big part of the story.
Correct. And then like some of the skills he learned, and I think a lot of people could take from this, is that like like us as individuals, like, do want to hit a certain accomplishment. And the way we actually do hit certain goals and accomplishment is that we actually help others to get to where we need to get to. Yeah. So his goal was, because he had a dream. So it started with a dream about hitting this treasure. I didn't know what it meant. So he went, someone got the explanation. Then he met Melky. He had to pay his dues or investment, get to it, and then he trusted someone. So then you learn to be a better judge of character of people. He lost his money plenty of times like you said, plenty of opportunities to quit. And then when he got to the glassmaker, he was like,
Crystal,
was he a
Crystal,
glass?
yeah, Crystal.
So for him to get the money that he needed to pursue where he wanted to go, he actually had to help that guy. So even though he worked there to get his own money, he helped that individual to boost his business because the business did slow down. So he gave him great ideas. Why don't we do this over here? Why don't we do that over here? I'll clean this up for you. Go over that. So he actually helped that individual, who in turn not only gave him money, but also went over to him and said, I have a goal as to see was it see the pyramids? No, what was the glassmaker's goal?
Well, he was a Muslim, so it was to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca.
The pilgrimage, yes.
Yeah.
But he didn't pursue it.
No, he didn't. He didn't pursue it. And I think that, so what you're saying, Santiago came to help him, but he also challenged him too, right? Like he made him kind of reevaluate the way he was doing business. Like the guy got comfortable, like, my business is, I'm okay right now. Like I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy, but my business is fairly successful. And Santiago kind of challenged him, like, yo, you can't really be content with this. Like there's more stuff out there. And because he was challenged, he stepped outside his comfort zone and he saw his business kind of take off, the heights where he had said he never reached before. So I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, no, that's correct. And then I like as well as that this is like a little maybe off topic, but the goal of reaching and seeing the Alchemist, I liked how it showed that even though it was like one person or one situation, because they weren't really too sure, where the scientist or the person who always read books wanted to see the Alchemist, the Englishman wanted to see the Alchemist for a certain reason, and then Santiago wanted to see the Alchemist for a certain reason, and then all those people knew the Alchemist for a certain reason. So it was just like where I could say it in a book, like all of us could read the book, but there's like different perspective, a different reason of reaching someone or seeing someone.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the whole kind of like metaphor, or the alchemist. For people who don't know, the alchemist turns metal, particularly lead, but any metal, into gold. So he's able to take something really cheap, almost something kind of useless that's commonly found, and is able to make something, like gold, which is super precious and super valuable. So even though, it's like he's literally turning metal into gold, I thought the metaphor could be applied to everybody's life, where, our life might look like it's metal. It might look like it's lead and it's cheap, but we have the power to convert it into gold.
See? Didn't even take it like that.
Ooh, I'm dropping gems today, DJ. You know what I'm saying? There's just like there's a lot. I know our time is a little bit limited today, guys. We're going through like little transition. We're trying to get things back, back cooking.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of time. So DJ, if it's cool with you, like I want to introduce one more quote. And then we could do like a part 2 of The Alchemist at our next session.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because there's a lot more in it. And you and I actually never really discussed the whole thing. So I'm actually curious on your intakes on a lot of things on it.
On the whole book.
Yeah, we never did.
Yeah, to me, like, obviously, like, to me, the most impactful book I've ever read is the Bible. And then The Alchemist is like if the Bible's here, The Alchemist is right here. And then everything else is like in a completely different category. So that's how highly like I view this book. To me, it changed my life. It changed my perspective. And every time I read it, I'm still like, my perspective is still being broadened, and being able to teach it with my students and be able to teach life lessons through this book and kind of like seeing, I have students say, my perspective on life changed because of this. I'm coming to this class, we're reading this book, and I'm learning stuff about life that I've never even thought of. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was like such a huge kind of like blessing, and it's such a rewarding feeling to know like this book is really touching and changing lives. And it's
funny because the Alchemist, like the way I took it, and I love the way you put it, is like I saw the Alchemist was what you wanted the Alchemist to be. Like, so if you wanted something, that's what you were going to be. So like the Englishmen and the people that live with the Alchemist, like the Alchemist was also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like he was a healer with the sicknesses. So it was like whatever you wanted him or her to be, whatever, you know, that's what the Alchemist actually was at that time.
Yeah, that's fine. I never really thought of it like that either, DJ. That's pretty cool. I got to kind of like, I'm trying to like in my head like rewind it and see it through that perspective.
Yeah.
I think that's really really cool, man.
So like, because when you brought up that it was like religious, like a lot of people have different aspects on religion, whereas like where it could be this, it could be that, could be that. So like to me, that's what I saw the Alchemist was, where he was a sign of hope, sign of a goal, and then like just because of not having a definitive character what he was, you just heard rumors of what he was, then you believed in it, and that's what you would go. So that's what make you like. That's what would make you go after. So to me, that's what's like. That was like a personal. Like to me, that's was a significance of a sign of like a personal legend. So like you and I could read the book. My insight of getting something out of the book would be totally different, but the book was still the same words.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. And just I just want to add like really quickly, something I thought was super cool was like, you know, the Englishman was the one seeking out the alchemist, right? The Englishman was really the one that wanted to meet the alchemist. And his goal, like he studied that. So there's a character called the Englishman for people who don't know. And his whole life he's been training and studying to be an alchemist. So he's read like hundreds and hundreds of books. The whole journey throughout the desert, he's reading hundreds of books. Not hundreds of books in the desert, but he's reading constantly nonstop where he's not even paying attention to everything that's going around. He's educated. And so ideally, like he would seem like on paper, like the ideal candidate for the alchemist to mentor. Whereas Santiago wasn't even looking for the alchemist. You know, Santiago was just trying to help his boy, the Englishman, find him. And then, you know, so to me, like Santiago was almost like on paper unqualified to be this man's apprentice. But, you know, he qualified the unqualified. You know what I'm saying? He saw something in Santiago that Santiago didn't really see in himself. And I thought that was really, really cool the way, you know, the alchemist, the way the Englishman and Santiago were kind of like compared and contrasted throughout their journey together.
Correct. But yeah, I definitely do have to hop on this other call. I would definitely like to continue. Hold on. Yeah, I would definitely like to continue this. But I just have someone waiting for me right now.
All right. Do you think, DJ, guys? Thank you for tuning in. So next time we meet, we're going to be discussing the book a little more in depth. Today was just a quick, you know, preview of it. But thank you for tuning in, guys. Remember, hit that like button, hit that share button, comment.
A little comment. Yeah, I don't care what the comment is. Let's comment, like, and share for us.
All right, guys. Have a great day. God bless everybody. Have a great day. Peace.